I want to welcome you to the Pantheon of M. I'm your host, Ray Schoenberg, and today it is the third Monday of the month, and that means I get to review a Razzie-nominated film. And today, because it's the holiday spirit, and we're just days away from Christmas, I figure why not review a holiday movie? So I've chosen the classic Tyler Perry film, A Medea's Christmas, which I had no idea is based on a screenplay for an actual theatrical play, which Tyler Perry wrote. Perry, who is the writer, producer, and director of this movie, and its star, deserves all the credits for this Razzie film. It has been nominated for 6 Razzies, tying it with Sandler's Jack and Jill, Travolta's Battlefield Earth, and Will Smith's After Earth. This film only won 1 Razzie, Best Actress. That's right, for Madea. So, okay, so how do I say this? I am not a Tyler Perry fan. I mean, I've watched a couple of his films. I first saw the first film I actually saw was Alex Cross, the I guess the kind of like sequel to the novels that stars Morgan Freeman and Kiss the Girls, that Ashley Judd movie. So the Alex Cross character is an anthology of stories. That was actually a very good film. I saw Gone Girl, which he has a supporting role. Thought his performance in that was amazing. I plan on watching the movie Don't Look Up with DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, which is out now. I plan to seeing that probably in the next week or so. And again, another supporting role for a film that I heard mixed things on, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt and want to go see it. As for his performance as Madea, I've only seen about 3 Madea films, and that was because of the podcast or the show that we do. I saw Acrimonium for an earlier podcast I used to do a while back. I did a review for A Medea's Halloween, the sequel, and A Medea's Funeral for this podcast. So my knowledge of Madea is limited. So it's based on that experience of watching those films, and that's basically it. I've never watched any of Tyler Perry's like TV series, like House of Pain or The Browns, or is it Meet the Browns? I think it is. So I can't say too much for his renaissance of body of work. I do know that he's a talented actor, a talented writer, and he likes to pay it forward for those who he works with, and he's built a really good empire of what he's done. And at a time where things were down, his films, started to lift up and became like opening at number 1 in the box office. So there's a built-in audience. And as though this film was given a Razzie nomination, it's not as bad as, let's say, Howard the Duck or Ishtar or any of the films that are nominated that he's tied with getting Razzies. In fact, A Medea's Christmas got a theatrical release. It was in theaters. It had a budget of $25 million. It made double that back domestically. So in America and the U.S., it made like $52 million and an extra $1 million abroad. So it made money back. So it wasn't a commercial failure. It actually did well. And unlike the film Howard the Duck, which we will be reviewing on New Year's Eve, this film has an audience, whereas Howard the Duck didn't have an audience, never found its audience. This one, Tyler Perry has a built-in audience who will go see his films. So say what you will about, like, maybe you may not like his work or you haven't seen his work. He has a fan base, a devoted fan base who will watch his stuff, and they know the quality of work or what to expect. And for those who watch it, like a cult following, if you want to call it cult, which is not really a word I'm comfortable using, there is a base for that. Now, let's get into the film. This movie is... I'm going to say I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Perry, meaning I like his body of work, what I've seen so far. A Medea's movie, which is, I think he's done maybe about a dozen of those films, or 8 or 10, is mostly an allegory for after-school special issues like domestic abuse, infidelity, poverty, racism. So these are some of the touchstone markers that those films do. Even though Madea, which is sort of like the easy go-to is to say it's a parody of an Eddie Murphy film, like Norbit or The Clumps, where Madea is a parody of basically a costume to which Tyler Perry wears. And spoiler alert, for those who don't know, Madea is Tyler Perry. So I'm going to say this: the film is good. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy's in it. He is hilarious. There is some really good moments that are funny. I think Larry does a great job in this role. So the synopsis of the movie is this: Madea, her great niece, gets her a job at the opening of the film. Within the first day, Madea loses the job. Is at a department store, and that same day, Medea's niece gets a call, calls her daughter, and finds out that she's not coming home for Christmas. She's staying in the country. She's moved Medea's niece. His daughter has moved into the country. She's a teacher, and she's staying there to help with the Jubilee, which is like a Christmas celebration, like a carnival thing. And the township is struggling. There is a drought. A corporation has built a dam which is drying out the crops, and the township and the farmers, they're really struggling. And this Jubilee, which I don't know how this Jubilee is going to save this town financially, but it's a school Jubilee. So basically it takes place in a school, where you have a choir. So I'm not sure how the funding or the flow of money will save a town from a school. But in terms of thought process, there is some things they don't really explore it. I think it's just a vehicle again for Perry to do certain things. There are some things that were laugh out loud, or not, I won't say laugh out loud, but I'll say that was entertaining. As he's traveling cross country to go to Alabama, where the daughter is located, Madea walks into a Klan meeting, literally walks into a Ku Klux Klan meeting, and that's kind of funny, and this takes off. So you have like extreme moments of humor in this, and the balance of that. I don't know if the balance of having a Madea comedy with a film that has really serious dramatic tones. Yes, one of the key tones is the daughter is married to a white man, and she's kept it a secret from her family. She has an ex who's helping them out financially to get the township back up. His company is going to sponsor them. The company has a secret or dark side to them, which we find out in the movie. Chad Michael Mary's in it, from One Tree Hill. He is really good as a country boy, I'll put it that way. He's got a really good southern drawl. He comes across in the beginning maybe as the antagonist a bit, but again, he's a farmer who is struggling. His brother happens to be married to the daughter, and there is some uneasiness between the family dynamic of that. Kathy Najimy from Sister Act and Larry the Cable Guy plays the husband's parents. They know about the marriage, and they're pretty cool about it. So there are some things about this that has some really cool, strong messages, and it is poignant. Now the thing with having the Tyler Perry character in, or the Medea's character in, is that it gives some levity and upbeats that counterbalance all the drama. For instance, because the town's struggling, there's only like 4 teachers. They say, Lisa Welch from Facts of Life, Blair from Facts of Life plays the principal, and in the opening during the town, there's a bit of a meeting between the mayor, she's the principal, and some of the town folks. They're in the office of the principal's office, complaining to the mayor, which they don't explain why that is. So there is flaws. If you think about it too much, a lot of things don't make a lot of sense. But what was I going to say? Yes. So there's only 4 teachers in the school, and out of the 4 teachers, they're teaching each teacher is teaching several subjects, which means I don't know what that means, because it means you can only do 4 classes at a time, because only 4 people. So I'm guessing there's only like 4 classrooms really, and they just it's basically like if you're in elementary school, where the kids are, which it is elementary school, what am I talking about, where the kids just learn all the subjects in one classroom and they don't switch over. So it's a very small school, but it's a big school. Yeah. So now that I think about it, a lot of the logic doesn't really make sense, because the size of the school and if there's only 4 teachers, and each teacher is teaching several subjects, it's a full academic, year, but they stay in one classroom, unless they move to like a science lab or a gym. I'm overthinking this way too much. So, anyways, because they're short-staffed, Madea comes in for one day to help teach a class, and during this time, Madea, I should say, is kind of like the doctor of thugonomics. She's very outspoken, ethnically like ghetto, sometimes kind of rude. Like things like prostitution, drugs, smoking weed. I mean, these are things that are in Medea's wheelhouse. And so when I say thugonomics, there's a scene where one of the children, a girl, steals Medea's purse, and then she comes back, teaching this girl a lesson. It doesn't go too well for the daughter for various reasons. In the long story short, because of the sponsorships, and because of not necessarily what Medea's done, she loses her job, and things really do spiral out of control. And it doesn't help that the fact that her mother doesn't know she's married to a white man, and her ex is also come on this road trip to visit her, and there is a issue where we are understanding that it was a white guy killed her father, which we find out the truth about that in the film. So there are some really harsh tones, but there are things in it that's funny, and there are things in it that's not funny. It's mostly a drama, so it's a dramedy, if you will. And a lot of Tyler Perry films is a dramedy. And so if you're looking for like laugh out loud moments, Larry the Cable Guy will bring you that. And there are some moments where, like 2 or 3 moments that I think where Medea's character does do something that surprises you, and kind of like, some may laugh out loud. I just was like, I smiled. It was okay. The comedy, when it does well, it really, really works, but it's not it doesn't really land properly for me. Now, the fact that he got a Razzie nomination, 6 Razzie nominations, I think it's a little harsh and maybe uncalled for. But again, if you're looking at Sandler's Jack and Jill, which was just, again, looking at Eddie Murphy's the touchstone for the Clumps, and looking at Norbit, then yeah, Jack and Jill and Madea is the next generation of talent, the next wave of talent that kind of followed Eddie's work. I wish I can say good things about it. It is a really good series of movies when I've seen so far, but give it a shot. So with that, I'm Ray. We'll see you later.